Sexual Divine Power and Magic Power by Xiafeng. Damo Patriarch once said in the Blood Lineage Theory that sexuality is Buddha. It is sexuality that drives society forward. The universe is a dance of sexuality. The fulfillment of sexuality is the fulfillment of life and the universe. To become an immortal, a Buddha, or a god, one must achieve the fulfillment of sexuality. According to the Taiji principle, each life is polarized, either masculine or feminine. Only when the masculine and the feminine unite can a life be complete. The power of sexuality is incredibly strong. It's impossible to transcend sexuality. Trying to do so is self-deception. Sexuality possesses both divine power and magic power and is beyond personal control. Forcibly controlling it can distort sexuality and lead to abnormality. Letting sexuality be free will bring peace to the world, tranquility to people, and stability and harmony to society. Therefore, sexual freedom is both a basic and ultimate freedom. Without sexual freedom, there won't be personal freedom, nor social fairness and justice, and nobody can become an immortal, a Buddha, or a god. So, let sexuality bloom freely like wildflowers in the mountains and rivers, and flow freely like the rivers. Sexuality has no morality, so it should not be imposed with moral standards. The conclusions below come from an insight into sexuality and may shock and astonish. I hope readers will not deny them based on outdated notions and moral standards. Whether they are correct should be determined through rational analysis and judgment, respecting facts, and employing the spirit of science and logical capabilities. Avoid emotional reactions. Once emotional, reasoning becomes impossible. The conclusion is, any person's sexual life and behaviors, no matter how bizarre, promiscuous, or even abnormal they may appear, as long as they do not harm others in society, as long as they are not coercive, as long as he or she is willing, should be tolerated and not condemned or criminalized. For example, sexual intercourse between humans and animals, between fathers and daughters, mothers and sons, grandfathers and granddaughters, grandmothers and grandsons, sons-in-law and mothers-in-law, fathers-in-law and daughters-in-law, etc. Women being promiscuous with many men, men being fickle in love with many women, spouses having affairs, etc., all kinds of peculiar sexual lives and patterns can be understood. Human society does not need to make a fuss or insult and morally bind them. I hereby solemnly declare that I do not support the above-mentioned sexual behaviors, but I can understand them. Those who are well-fed do not understand the feelings of those who are starving. The rich cannot experience the bitterness and helplessness of the poor. Those who are well-fed cannot set standards for those who are starving, just as lions and tigers cannot set behavioral norms for zebras and antelopes, and wolves cannot set activity ranges for sheep. When the powerful drive of sexuality erupts, the best way is to satisfy the sexual hunger. Once it cannot be satisfied, people will seek all kinds of ways to fulfill the strong sexual hunger. People do not want to have sex with animals, but if the conditions for having sex with humans are not met, they have to release sexual energy by having sex with animals. If even the condition of animals is not met, people will have sexual relations with their own daughters, sons, grandsons, granddaughters, uncles, aunts, mothers-in-law, nephews, cousins, etc. As for affairs, as for sexual relationships between masters and disciples, teachers and students, it is already a very normal phenomenon. In the world of women, prostitutes are a group of great women because they provide sexual integration and satisfaction for countless men. They are great because they comply with the law that, the higher the degree of sharing, the greater the value of things. From this, we can logically deduce that women who have sexual relationships with many men and men who have sexual relationships with many women should be affirmed and should not be attacked and persecuted. Human beings should pay attention to reality. Once everyone matures, they enter the stage of sexual needs. Maximizing people's access to sexual energy can not only make each person live a happy, joyful, and happy life, but also make society harmonious, stable, and civilized. The prerequisite for human civilization is sexual freedom. Without sexual freedom, there can be no human civilization. Sexuality is a kind of energy and also a resource. This resource is inexhaustible, but when individuals in human society all occupy sexual resources, this resource appears to be extremely scarce. Once scarce, sex with animals and incest cannot be eradicated, and sex trade cannot be avoided. Therefore, the troubles, anxieties, pains, and even crimes caused by this are inevitable. Of course, the more sexual partners and the higher the frequency, the easier it is to contract sexually transmitted diseases and even AIDS. This negative effect can be eliminated by setting up a procedure, such as every sexually mature person must have a sexual health certificate. It is not difficult to achieve this. But we cannot stop eating because people get sick from eating grains, nor can we cut off sexual love because of the risk of contracting sexually transmitted diseases. Life is like a dream, all is void. Fully experience it without regret. It's better to die of pleasure than to die of sorrow and regret. March 31st, 2021. You.